The following is a presentation of TFNN. It is now time for Trade What You See with your host, Larry Pesavento. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Larry Pesavento.
Okay, good afternoon, folks. And we are going to have our friend and colleague, Norm Winsky from Astro Trends, coming on at 12:30 to talk to us about the Mercury retrograde and also the new moon phenomenon that we have going on right now. He really is into this very much, and I'm going to let him talk about it, because if it's wrong, you can send your cancellation notices to him and not to me. But we've got the New York Stock Exchange Index. Hasn't quite made a new high yet. It's only pennies away. We've blown through the SPY. The cash S&P has made new highs. The cash, the futures have made new highs. The what do you call it? The Nasdaq has not made new highs, but that's just a temporary thing, I believe. The Dow Jones has also made a new high. Now, I've been asked to look at a couple of stocks to start the show, and the first one is Disney. And as you can see here, we've had a tremendous run in Disney. We've gone to all the levels where we should be going, and so this stock should be ready to turn down. Remember, the Dow stocks are all price weighted. So the higher the price, the more weighting it has in the Dow Jones. When you have stocks like Disney and Nike and Goldman Sachs, those mean a great deal of getting the stocks, a lot higher. So the next one we want to look at is Nike, and we'll put this one up so you can take a look at it. What's interesting about this, I know it's just an absolute total coincidence today, but if you'll take a look at this chart where I've circled it, I did this on Saturday. I was looking for the high to be at 105.46 cents, and so far the high was 105.46. Now, that's not really fair, because I put an order to sell a two shares short at 105.47, so they haven't filled me yet. So that's what they're waiting on, is my two lot in Nike to complete the pattern at the 1.618 number. But we'll see if that's going to be the case. It'll still be a little ways away, but I have a stop at, I'm selling at 105.47, and I'm putting a buy stop at 105.51. So I'm only risking 4 cents on $105 stock. And if you believe that, you still have 2 shares of Brooklyn Bridge Incorporated to buy from me that I have available for you today, but we'll keep that for a later time. Okay, let's get on to the markets. As I came into this weekend, we were looking at this as what we're going to be talking to it with Mr. Winsky when he comes on, and that's the Mercury retrograde and the full moon coming together at the same time. We'll let him discuss it. I just want to show you the chart. The last time we had this was back on January 22nd. From there, the market sold off 800 points before going up. It's a short-term cycle, but we have that coming in today. And so keep an eye. This is a new moon. And, Mercury retrograde, Norman will discuss that a little bit more, because he's far adept at talking about these things, because he's been a classical astrologer for, wow, way more than 50 years, and I've only been doing it probably 30 years, so he's far away. Now, we do have a couple of things that really look interesting right now, and that's in the bond market. If we take a look at what's happening in the bond market, you'll notice that the ETF for the long bond is coming down at the 786 retracement. We've come down and matched the same low that we had the other day. The futures are exactly at the 61% retracement when they were down 2 full points. So the bonds are probably a buy in this area, because if they don't hold here, they don't have any survivor skills at all, I don't believe. But the 152.12 level should hold really quite well in the Treasury bonds. So keep a close eye on that one. It's amazing that bonds down 2 points and stocks still up on the day. That's an outlier event that we've seen over and over again now, because nobody wants to be in the bonds, and I believe that's the right case to be, as near as I can tell. We've had a really nice move now in silver and gold. We've actually went up above those levels that we were looking at last week at that 12. We were looking to gold to get to that 1230 level, and we did get to 1230 in the gold. And if I can find it, there we go. We'll put this up here because we hit 1230 last night, and that tells us that we are probably getting ready to go a lot higher. We're starting to see increases in open interest, folks, is what we'd like to see happening, and that is occasionally what's going on. 3 days last week, the gold and silver both increased open interest by better than 1%. For the week, gold was up 2.5%, silver was up 7%, and the key level to watch in silver is $18, because if we get above $18, folks, in silver, boy, get some silver, buy some silver eagles. Those are 1 ounce silver coins made by the United States Treasury. They're pure silver, and buy some of those because I think silver's got a chance to really go, and also gold. We're starting to see signs of it. Maybe this era of funny money might be a little short-lived, but we'll have to give it a little bit of time to see if that's going to be the case. The VIX index, as Basil talked about, is under, well, it was up a little bit higher. It's since sold off quite a bit, but it's under a great deal of pressure. There's absolute total complacency in the market, folks, and you're welcome to go in here and buy, and I hope you make a lot of money, but this is the kind of place where you can really get hurt. So be really careful up in here. We have a new moon, we have Mercury retrograde, and that's going to be an interesting thing to listen to what Norman talks about when he comes on to discuss what Mercury means as far as communication. Now, this is not new, folks. The planet Mercury was actually first brought to everyone's attention back in, I think it was 6000 BC with the Sumerians, and also the Babylonians, because they had those on the tablets about how it related to the wheat. And that's another thing that you want to watch what's going on in these markets, because we've had a tremendous moving week, over 50 cents a bushel here in the last 4 or 5 days. And we're coming into a new moon and Mercury retrograde into wheat right up at the 786 level at $5.30 a bushel. So we'll see if that's going to be some type of resistance. Corn has moved a little bit. Soybeans have moved a little bit, but wheat has been the big mover, much like what Rich Anderson told us it was going to be when he was on our show last Thursday. So this is what we want to keep an eye on with some of the things that you want to be looking for. Someone asked a question, what are the price of the 2 shares of the Brooklyn Bridge? They're $5 a share, the same price of the original issue of Ford Motor Company. I have to tell a good, you'll love this story. When I was at Indiana University, one of the things that we did was we researched stock certificates for people for investment accounts and also for estates. And we had a lady that had 1,000 shares of original issue Ford Motor Company back in 1906, I believe, as I recall, and it was $5 a share, and I don't know how many times it split, but it was a lot. And folks, this was 1964. Yeah, 1960. You're talking about 63 years later. Do you want to guess how much that stock was worth when the old lady passed away? Well, folks, it went to $105 million, and that's a lot of money. So anyway, keep in mind that that's what we have going on in some of these markets. They're really crazy, and we'll see what's going on here. We had a big move here. I want to show you something that's happening in. If you like pattern recognition, folks, in numbers of the universe that we deal about all the time, I'm going to have to turn. There we go. To turn a beeper off because the currencies are under pressure right now, and we'll go into that. But I want to show you a chart that when you see this, pay really close attention. This is the British pound, where we were last Friday when we were talking actually on Thursday, the fact that 158 level in the British pound had so many things going for it. And if you look at this really closely, going back over the past year, you were at a 50% retracement of the high from last July, 158. You were at a 61% retracement from the high in September, 158. You were at a 78.6 retracement of the high from October, 158. You were at a 1.27 expansion of the high from February 23rd, 158. And you also had a 1.618 expansion of the high from April 27th, 158. Now, if 158 doesn't excite you folks, you should increase your dose of Viagra and also your dose of Prozac, and relax, sit on the porch, rock a little bit, because it won't be long till the Grim Reaper will be coming around with his sickle. Folks, that was Mother God and Country. It's now 150 pips lower, which is what you like to see. And so what we'll be watching now is for a move possibly to come down about 400 and 500 pips. We're already down 150. So the first level we'll be looking at would be 155. Right now, if you'd have done that trade, you would certainly have your first profit objective in, and you would now be at a break-even point, because these markets can turn on a dime, and it could certainly go back and, you know, get above 158. Because if it gets above 158, you can go long, because there's nothing but air between that and 165. So it's a real interesting pattern that is filled up, and that's the main thing to keep an eye on. Okay, now on Thursday, I'm going to have Rich Anderson on, hopefully. We've got a lot of things happening in the grain markets with a 50-cent move in wheat over the past couple of days. And we also have Mercury is really instrumental in wheat. We have Mercury retrograde today with the new moon. So this should be a topping action today in wheat. And it's made a 786 retracement of the high we made several weeks ago. And, well, it's been several months ago. So this should be really interesting. So this next pullback that we get in the grains, which we are expecting, probably coming into Memorial Day weekend, we really want to watch this closely, because this is the scenario that you get into the planting season. The planting season will be done, and then the growing season will start. And usually we get 6 or 8 weeks of some really crazy weather due to the high pressure center over the northwest. The northern Midwest, and that causes the drying out of the fields and makes the crops just not grow as well. But we've got plenty of crops right now. There's a lot out there, but that can change, you know, very, very quickly. But Rich Anderson will help us on Thursday to go through some of that stuff. Okay, now we want to talk some more about the gold and silver. These markets have taken out the March highs. That's very important, folks. Also, the XMI and the let's try the XAU has also acted very well. So we do have a chance that we have for gold to go a lot higher. Now, what we'd like to see is, after this breakout that we had today, would be a nice little 3 to 5 day pullback. So coming in next Monday, maybe as early as Thursday, we'll have this little 3-day pullback in an ABCD formation, and the gold will get back maybe into the 1202, 1200 level one more time to see if that's going to happen. So we're going to take a little break here to pay a few bills. We got stock strong and gold about unchanged. We'll be right back after these few words.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartlys, ABCs, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form patterns that many investors spend days or even months searching to find. And right now, offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new chart that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investments, and whether you're bullish or bearish on Chinese stocks, the ETFs from Direction Shares are there to help you magnify your perspective. Bull ETFs for a rising market and bear ETFs for a falling market. Direction Shares gives you the tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Larry takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Okay, folks, we're back, and I wanted to, we have an anniversary date today, folks. It was about a year ago. Our fearless leader and intrepid trader, Tom O'Brien, coined the phrase King Dollar when the dollar was setting at 79.5. It since went $30,000 higher over the past year and has now made its first ABCD correction in this market. We've had a couple of small ones. We had a very, very small one back in October of last year, but that one really didn't count very much because it didn't even come to a 382 retracement. This one actually does, and we are setting now with a 1.618 expansion of the ABCD leg, and so this market has a real chance now of turning around and going higher. However, if we get above 115 in the euro, this is all for naught. That means this pattern will certainly failed, and it doesn't really mean anything at all anymore. So watch this dollar index very, very closely. What we did to start the show a little bit later, we did the British pound. I wanted to show you folks what that was doing. What I'd like now is I want to show you what some of the other currencies are doing. At first, at the ETF for the dollar, that's the UUP, which is the bullish dollar. And if you take a look at this, you'll see that it has a 61% retracement from the January low, but you can see CD format that fulfills very, very nicely. So we know where we are. If we go much higher in the euro, anything 15 means this thing is totally wrong, not going to work at all. we'll take a quick look at the British pound, because I think that is without a doubt the best pattern that we've seen here with ratios and proportion than anything we've seen in recent memory. I can't ever remember, seeing 5 ratios coming together at the same time is like what we had on last Thursday. And now we're trading down into the 156 and change level, which tells us that high certainly means something. If we get above that, then that's certainly going to tell us that we're going to be going to a much higher level. Now, the next one we want to take a look at is the Japanese yen, because it also has had a really nice pattern on the hourly chart that covers the last several weeks. And as you can see, we've had a series of lower highs, which is the 135 pattern. And as long as if we can get this the Japanese yen above the 120 level, this also would be breaking out to the upside. We've had breakouts in the Canadian dollar, minor breakouts in the Swiss franc, and also in the, what was the other one? I can't remember exactly. See, Canadian, Swiss, Japanese yen. I'm missing one, but Mother Nature will come on to me, and hopefully one of these days, and we'll get it. Now, I wanted to put on here what I really think the problem lies in the markets. I'm certainly probably wrong about this, but I have to mention it. Yes, it was the Australian dollar. Thank you very much for reminding me. But as you can see, we've had a collapse in the Treasury bond market of well over $11,000 here since mid-March. So in 2 months, we've dropped well, March, April, May, it's been 2 months. We're down right at the 61% retracement now. And you can notice that the junk bonds actually rallied in the last week or two when the Treasury bonds were coming unglued. Boys and girls, I mean, come on, give me a break. I mean, something is not right when that happens. I guess this old cowboy has misread everything wrong, and this stuff doesn't mean anything anymore at all, because junk bonds are junk bonds. They are high-yield bonds. They've been bonds ever since Mike Milcom renamed back in 1974. Basically, a subpar bonds or worse. And how can you take a AAA U.S. government? I guess you can when you figure out in government. Maybe it's not a bad deal. Maybe junk better than Treasury. That must be it, because this chart of the junk bonds versus the Treasury is the most amazing chart that I've seen in. I've been doing this stuff, and that's been a long time. It's not right. When bonds sell off this much, junk bonds should have at least made new lows from the past week, and they couldn't even come close to doing that. So I have misinterpreted something of what's going on. Now, there was a big economic conference by John Maudlin this past week of Business Insider. He has some of the finest minds in the country that were there and giving their ideas of what's going on. And the 3 things that came up were the Federal Reserves and the central banks of the world are controlling the stock markets. B, the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the Dow Jones Utilities, let's say that again, the Dow Theory, which is the Dow Jones Industrials, the Dow Jones Utilities, and the Dow Jones Transportations. The Transportations and Utilities have basically debunked the Dow Theory. It doesn't really matter anymore. That's what the folks thought. And the third thing was the VIX index is kaput. It's no good. Nada. Papo. Bupskus. We'll be back. Got to pay a few bills with Norman Whiskey on deck.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his newsletter he delivers every morning. Then visit the front of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programs every market day from 8 until 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program by accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the homepage. You can smartphone Tiger TV, but if you don't connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit tfnn.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com, educating investors. This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Okay, folks, we have Norm Winski from Astro Trends on the line. Norman, are you there?
Yes, sir, Larry.
Welcome to the World Series, buddy. It's the bottom of the ninth with 2 on, a runner on third, and the score is tied. What's going to happen now? You told us Friday or Wednesday that, or was it Thursday? You told us that we were going to make a new high coming in on Monday, and we have. Tell us tell us what's happening. We've got a lot of people waiting to hear.
Okay, well, I was looking for a change in trend window here. In a minute, we're going to look at the research I did. Let me scroll ahead on my notes here, get to that. So
okay, I've got the first chart posted, which is the Mercury retrograde, going back over the last 3 times that we've had. I want you to tell the folks how rare this event is, where we have a Mercury retrograde and a new moon, and also if you could tell them what the Mercury retrograde means from an astrological standpoint, how classical astrologers view it, because I know it's a very important concept of Mercury retrograde.
Okay, let's start there. Let's tell, for the folks who are new to this, let's explain what that is. So there's a phenomena by apparent motion. That's how things appear, that the planets will stop their motion and reverse their direction on occasion. This is like you're driving in your car doing 60 and somebody passes you doing 70. If you glance out your window, you might get the impression that you're going backwards by 10 miles an hour, even though you know intellectually that your speedometer says you're going ahead 60 miles an hour. I'm sure most people have had that experience. And so that's what happens. If you go out and plot in the night sky, plot the planets, you will notice on occasion that the planets stop their motion and reverse direction. The general umbrella term is called a station point when they stop, and if they turn and if they go backwards, that's called retrograde. That's what we have with Mercury this evening. Mercury's going to stop going forward and turn and go backwards, retrograde, this evening. Now, it also corresponds to this morning, just after midnight Eastern time. We had a new moon, and the coincidence of these two cycles does not happen very often. I went back 5 years on my research. It just occurred to me, I sort of watch these things over many years, and it's like I noticed that unusual that we just had one in January, and then we had one coming up here today. And so I went back 5 years to see when I could find another match like that. And now I'm going to move ahead here on my charts, on my notes. And if you, I don't know, I can't see what notes you have up there, Larry, but on page 2,
yep,
we have
you're watching page 2 right now.
Yes, sir. So we have the November 24th, 25th of November. By the way, the 24th, I looked it up. That was Thanksgiving, so the market was not open that day. And that was Mercury turning retrograde. A little symbol there on the chart. Little Mercury sign looks like Venus with horns, kind of a horny Venus, you know. And then we have the SR is for stationary retrograde, and then we have the new moon on the 25th, which was a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And then we see I'm scrolling down here now to show you where the red arrow is, to show you that the market made a nice low. Either on Friday, right at Friday the 25th, or possibly might have made a slightly lower low by a few pennies on the 28th. So you were within one trading day of a very sharp reversal. That was a low, sharp reversal to the upside. Moving ahead now in January, the next one was January 20 and 21 of this year, of 2015. And the next, the 22nd, my arrow's off just slightly there. That top bar there is the 22nd. That's when the market turned. So the market ran up. It's a 1 day late. The market turned 1 day after the new moon Mercury window. And then you had a very sharp reversal. That was, I believe, almost 84 handles on the S&P that we dropped from there. And
it was 800 Dow points. Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yep. And then if we go look at the bottom of the chart there, I show you today, May 18th. And we had, like I said, the new moon this morning, and this evening, our Mercury turning retrograde. So there we go. So we're in a similar coincidence of these, the moon and Mercury. And so we'll have to wait and see. Now, one of the things that historically has also been important with this combination are the greens. I heard you talking earlier about the greens, Larry.
Yes.
Historically, there is a tendency for these two cycles to usually occur near highs, although I think the big cycles here lately, up till very recently here, have been, we've been kind of in a bear market in these greens, so the big cycles were pushing the greens down. The corn, I have the corn chart there, and you can see
yes, it's up there now.
Has rallied somewhat, so that sort of has taken the wind out of a potential nice setup here, which we, as of last week, we were looking pretty nice, but now it's rallied up, and so it's almost, and it's not really rallied all that much, so it's kind of getting toward the middle there, which I don't like as a setup. I like things at an extreme, so I'm not sure what to do about the corn there. The beans look more interesting. The beans are near their lows, and so you might be looking at a low in soybeans.
That's good. Now, Norman, last week we also talked about the British pound, because we were both looking at the area of 158, and it's certainly fallen off quite a bit. Now, I posted the British pound chart, the June British pound in there today, and it's certainly lined up perfectly with the lines you were looking at. What's your outlook for that, and does it have anything of an astrological bearing to it with this Mercury or new moon or anything like that? Have you ever found anything with the currencies?
No, I don't really. This falls under a different category of astrological analysis, so I come at it in a totally different way. I don't look at those type of cycles for the currencies.
Okay.
It's more based on the country or the currency chart, that kind of thing.
So you use the birth chart of the entity, I guess.
Right. Well, in this case, you can't find a start date for the British pound. It's just
Mm-hmm.
too much history. I did look this up a few weeks ago, and
The Battle of
Wikipedia there.
Hastings, 1066.
Oh, actually, the British pound actually goes back to like the time of Charlemagne or something like that. It was just, it's too fuzzy, But
Yeah.
but you can use that. There is a UK chart that you can trace back to Great Britain at the time of the early part of the 19th century when it sort of became the current entity,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I'm using. And so we have a cluster of dates coming up here just after Memorial Day weekend. So look for a change in trend there. Maybe if I understand your scenario right, Larry, we might pull back to the bottom of the trading channel here, and you might be looking at a low there after Memorial Day.
We'll certainly be watching that. Now, Norm, I wanted to take a few minutes here so you could tell the folks you have a really relatively inexpensive and excellent Astro course that you help people with. You want to tell them what that entails? I've had several people ask about that, and I think coming from you would be a better description than coming from me. So why don't you explain to the folks what this Astro course entails?
Okay, I'm going to do that, Larry. I just wanted to point out you also have a chart here with the Japanese yen. Very interesting pattern there, coming into a wedge to an apex of a triangle here. That's due to,
yes.
Looks like that might culminate here in a week or so. And we have some key dates coming up just after Memorial Day for that too. Now about the course, you can get, I have a course, teach you the basic principles of astrology and how they relate to the markets. But before you jump into that pool, you can try out my works. Check out my work all for free with a free market letter and a free class that goes with the letter. And let me just tell you up front, if you contact me to get the free letter, you must do the class because otherwise, you'll look at the letter and your eyeballs will spin. You won't know what you're looking at, and then you won't follow through. So, but once my stuff looks complicated on the surface because there's, we have terms in there like Mercury retrograde and so forth. But once you get over the language barrier, it's really very simple. I like to think that it's not over the level of a fifth grader. You don't have to be smarter than a fifth grader, and a lot of this stuff I could teach a grade school kid to do. So, looking forward to helping all your. By the way, Larry, you have the best. I've been doing this stuff for 40 years or more, and I've been interviewed by some big names in the financial media, and I think you got just about the best audience there is, Larry. The folks that have contacted me.
Yeah, they're very smart. They're very smart people.
Exactly,
yeah.
Very smart, and they're serious. They're not kicking, not jerking around and stuff, and just looking for free liner for the wastebasket and that sort of thing. They're actually serious people who many of them are very smart, very knowledgeable, experienced people who are looking to learn some more, and I'm looking to help those folks, Larry.
Okay, now they want to contact you. Why don't you give them your phone number one more time? And it's Astro Trends.
So the best way to reach me is by phone here in the U.S. or on Skype. My phone here in the U.S. is 239-594-3939. That's 239-594-3939. I'm in beautiful Naples, Florida. Or you can reach me on Skype at norm.winski. That's norm.winski. And looking forward to helping all your folks. I have over 40 years of experience. I'm a former Chicago floor trader. Traded on the CBOE as a market maker and the Board of Trade as a local. I was back there in the dinosaur days, Larry, like you, and
yep.
And had some great stories. If anybody likes that sort of thing, and I can show you. I don't do stocks anymore, and I tell people don't trade them, but I can show you how you can get legal inside information using the stars. I actually had a company calling me back one time after a client of mine was calling them with my forecast for an oil drilling company. They thought he was crazy at first, and then after about a month, they were calling him and asking him what was going to happen next.
Well, listen, Norm, we're going to have you on right after Memorial Day weekend, so put that on your calendar, and I'll set it up with the folks here at TFNN. We'll have you on again at that time. How's that?
Sounds super. Looking forward to it, Larry. Thanks a lot
for joining us.
Having me on your show. I'm looking forward to helping all your listeners.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Norm Winski of Astro Trends. Yep, you bet. And Astro Trends down in Naples, Florida. And we have Mercury retrograde, and we have a new moon today. This is a very significant time. The retrograde motion starts after the market closes. The new moon started late last night, and so we'll see, what's happening. We did have a new high in the New York Stock Exchange Index, folks, just a few minutes ago. About 20 minutes ago, it made a higher high by 20 cents from the high we made way back on April the 27th. As you know, that should not have happened. So that basically, the cycle model that I look at has a giant question mark on it today and tomorrow. And the only way this would change the market would be to totally reverse, and we go below 18,205, I believe actually it's 18,195 in the Dow Jones. That's more than 60 points away. Possible, but not probable. But that would be the only way that would be. It would be just a false move, because the New York Stock Exchange Index opened quite a bit lower, and as the futures started to rise, the index caught up with it. So it's going to be a very interesting time. The price objective that I was looking for in the Dow Jones at this move was 18,294, and we hit 18,297. That was pretty much spot on with what Basil was looking at on one of his numbers. So around 18,300, if we go above there, they're going to have another party. They'll have hats on, and we'll see what happens. But this Mercury retrograde and new moon is a very powerful cycle. It's short term, but it's still very powerful, and you want to keep an eye on it. The new moons are incredibly powerful. We know that from just looking at past history, that it's a 17-day. Let's try it again. It's a 14-day cycle that really hits spot on to some of these. So we want to watch that very, very closely. Now we've had one other question about one of the stocks that we look at all the time, and that is our friends from. I think Apple is up in Palo Alto, aren't they? That's what we're going to take a look at here, because we do have a situation that we want to look at here in Apple, because we had a Gartly form today in Apple. Actually, it formed, let's get this up here so everybody can see it. And we had a nice Gartly pattern. Whoa, dear, just a second. We got a little slight problem. Hit the wrong button. Okay. I'm having a little. Someone says that the New York Stock Exchange Index has not made a new high today. Basil, I'm showing it that it made a new high at 11,291, and I don't think that did that yet. But maybe I'm wrong. But I have a quarter bet on that, 25 cents, that it would not be taken out. And I don't gamble very much, and that's my extent of my gambling is 25%. But whether it is or not, we'll know soon enough, because these markets are still meandering higher and higher. So there's no really reason to think that they're going to, they're going to back off. If they do, it would be something of an amazing thing. But this is what happens when you have this situation where you've got the Mercury, and then also the new moon is more important, I think, than the Mercury retrograde, from what I've seen in the work that Shane Smolian and myself did. Well, Shane did the work. We had joint ideas, but the cycle is pretty prominent. So it can be off by day. It might be tomorrow, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll take a few breaks here. We'll come back and recoup what's going on. Dow is up 13, S&P up 4.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you like it does me, visit everbank.com/TFNN to find out what they can do for you. Again, that's everbank.com/TFNN. Visit them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Okay, we're back, folks, and I wanted to focus again on the Treasury bonds. We've looked at the TLT and the TBT and looked at those. We've also now, we're watching this, the ABCD that we've had happen over the last 7 trading days in the bonds, where we came off that low at 151. We rallied another 4 points, just like we did back in early May. And now we pulled back exactly to the 61% retracement today at 153.13. We're trading at 153.22 right now. We've had this big move down today on Dow with the, bonds being down 2 points is used to be an outlier event, but it's happened more and more now. But if we get anywhere below 152 in this, we're going to go down to the 150 level, at least in the bonds, and that's telling us that, we're still not out of this bond bear market. The problem arises in the bear market for bonds. Is it going to make these people that have these TBTs and TLTs run for cover? Because a 1% increase in interest rates can cause a great deal of problem with those markets. They can easily move 20% at one time without any trouble at all. So be very, very careful of those ETFs. I know they're fun to trade, but they do have some idiosyncrasies related to the bond market that you have to be careful of. I don't think there's any question that we've been in a bond bear market now for well over 4 months. Interest rates have gone higher. The Federal Reserve hasn't seen that yet, but that is exactly what's happened. The German bond has also been under a great deal of pressure, doing pretty much the same thing that we've had with the other ones, where the market had sold off quite a bit. But right now, there's no one afraid to be long stocks, which they should not be. They're making new highs. The VIX index is, pretty much making new lows. So there's absolutely no fear in the market. So everything in Camelot looks like it's going to go on forever. But we do have a few small divergences like we do in the transportations and we do in the Dow Jones utilities. Those are certainly lagging the market quite a bit. And actually the NASDAQ is lagging a little bit. The NASDAQ has only been able to make it up to the 786 retracement of the last high we made last week on the 7th. And so the assumption is that it's probably going to go popping through here today. We've had a high today at 45.04. The other high was 45.06. And the high before that was, 45.98. So it doesn't take much for the market to turn around and get a great deal of strength. So there's a lot of things happening. So keep in mind, this is a really key astro date here. Coming in here on the 18th of May, and with the Mercury retrograde tonight, the new moon happened last night, so we're supposed to see some increased volatility, and I'm pretty sure we're going to see that, but which direction remains to be seen. It used to be that some of these markets would have key reversal days, but that never happens anymore. Once they start, they just keep going in the same direction for as long as they possibly can. So reviewing the U.S. dollar, I think we've completed a beautiful ABCD correction in the U.S. dollar, which means the euro and the pound should start to go lower. And we'll see if that's going there. So far, they've done it today, but the euro is only 100 pips, a little more than 100 pips away from its high. The pound 150 pips from its high. So nothing really exciting there as of yet. But if they move 200, 300, 400 points away from those levels, then it's going to become apparent that the dollar's made another bottom, and we might be looking at a whole new leg to the upside. Remember, back on March 1st. You couldn't get anybody to short the dollar. That's when the euro was trading at 104. Now, 6 weeks later, we have the euro at 114 and change, and everybody wanted it. And that's the way the cookie crumbles, but this is the way it works when you're trying to sell shares of the Brooklyn Bridge. Live every day in an attitude of gratitude, and may God bless, and do something nice for somebody who has a heck of a lot less than you today, folks. We're very blessed.
Since 1984, Basil Chapman has been using the Chapman Wave methodology to advise traders of his expert market opinion. While originally hand-drawing charts from the late 1970s into the 1980s, Basil noticed that prices under most circumstances virtually always had a certain number of legs to the upside before declining sharply. Later, Basil found that computer software, which included the standard market technical indicators, enhanced the degree of accuracy in calling price turns, as well as market trend calls. Thus was born the Chapman Wave sequence. Using the Chapman Wave methodology along with other indicators, Basil Chapman advises his subscribers of his expert market opinion each market day with his opening call newsletter. Right now, you can get a 2-week free trial to the opening call, Basil's daily trading newsletter, by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Cancel at any time during that trial and pay absolutely nothing. Get your 2-week free trial to Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, today by visiting TFNN.com.
You're watching Tiger TV.